This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Mary Henderson. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Oh, well, it's day for me, but I'm doing amazing.
Well, do tell the amazing audience, what part of the world are you in right now?
I'm from Melbourne in Australia, and we have our summer at the moment, so it's very hot, and my favorite time of the year.
That's wonderful. Definitely wonderful. I love the warmth as well. Being from the Caribbean, it's fascinating that you guys are getting it all in the West. I've been hearing how cold it is. Yeah, it's been the Canadians and all of the Americans. They keep saying, "Oh, it's so cold." We wish could come to the Caribbean. So I guess Australia is right there with us, isn't it?
That's exactly right. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, Mary, do tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Well, I think that LinkedIn has actually connected us. So that's been the glue to why you and I are having this conversation right now. But for me to be seen and heard on LinkedIn, it's my gift of my voice that actually is been the impetus, if you will, for me to create the type of content that I create on LinkedIn, which is predominantly around video. And the content that I create has, reached so many thousands of people, and hence why you and I connected through another person. And that is all because of my voice.
That's amazing, isn't it? Well, to identify that it is your voice means that there's a level of insight that you operate within. Who did you learn that from? Insightfulness.
I think that, Angel, we all have gifts, talents, and insights, which I like to call wisdom. Every human being on earth. It's the ability to unpack all of that and then to create a narrative around that. Steve Jobs made a very, very important point in one of his talks, and he always spoke about connecting the dots to your life backwards, back to front, not front to back. And I spent a lot of time doing that. I literally unpacked my whole, reverse engineered my whole life and did exactly that, connect the dots back to front. And it's interesting when you do that type of a project, or when you approach your life from that standpoint, because you start to see patterns and you start to really identify not just who you are, but actually what you're here for. And so all of these elements around voice really has a direct link to what my true gift is that I have been given that nobody else can express like the way I do.
I love it. Now, where can people that are listening connect with you?
The way that people can connect with me is definitely through LinkedIn, which is Mary Henderson Coaching. And also people can connect with me on my website, www.maryhendersoncoaching.com.
The timing of that notification on your phone was perfect, because I said, where can people connect with you? And then you heard, ping, you can connect with me on LinkedIn.
There you go. The angels are with us, that's for sure.
I love it. Well, why would you suggest to someone that's listening that, they do, or in fact, you know what, let me ask you this. Why will you continue to repeat this skill? The skills that you have understood, the skills that have blah, blah, blah. The skills that you understand that you have that are unique to you.
The most important message that I can leave on this podcast is that that every human being needs to find their natural state of being. In other words, you need to go with the flow of life, not against the flow of life. The only way we can flow with life is to constantly be in our natural state, which requires for us to be highly conscious of the things that we find effortless, the things that make us happy, the things that put us in the zone where time means nothing to us. being in your natural state is the greatest gift we can give ourselves throughout this thing that we call life.
Yesterday I was speaking with Mick Kirsten all the way in British Columbia, Vancouver, and he was saying the same thing. And what he extended into is what that looks like, your natural state. He was expressing that it's a high level of you doing what you love exponentially. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that, but the only thing that I will add to that is that in order to understand your natural state, you literally have to go back to your 0 to 21 years of your first life and really unpack those 21 years so that you can see patterns. Because how does one know what their natural state looks like? We have to understand, Angel, we've bought into so many ideas in the first 21 years of our life that have now become our reality. So the idea is that you have to challenge that reality, challenge all of those paradigms, and start at a blank canvas. The only way that I know how to start from a blank canvas is to literally reverse engineer your whole life, unpack all of those years, and really start to see patterns. What stands out? Where were you at the best version of yourself in those first 21 years of your life? What were you doing? What were you feeling? What was happening? So these are key questions we must ask ourselves.
Well, Mary, do tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Just building my business, creating incredible content. My message is consistent. My whole business is around personal branding, and personal branding has the epicenter of personal branding is consistency. So my message to the world is very consistent. Even the conversation you and I are having right now all falls under what it is that I bring to the world, my uniqueness that I bring to the world, which is this area around personal branding. So consistency of me creating content, my messaging across all of my communication points have been very consistent.
How does it make you feel looking back from then to now?
I'm really proud of myself, Angel. This is my second startup, and I feel like one thing that I know for sure is that the entrepreneurial journey is not an easy one. There is a lot of trial and tribulation. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of you need to be tenacious, just in terms of having that as a natural trait. You need to overcome obstacles, etc. And I think that I've done a really good job of that. And now I look at myself right in this moment and I think, oh my God, did I achieve all of that in the last 3 years? And essentially what I was doing was building a very solid base, which has now paid off in a big, big way, because there's just, a lot of breakthroughs and a lot of great things that have been happening in the last couple of months.
Boomerang, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep, it is. That's a perfect way to describe it. Exactly what you give, you will get back tenfold. I truly believe that.
Love it. All right. Amazing audience, you're hearing it live from Mary Henderson. Again, you can link with her on LinkedIn. Most definitely. It's where we connected. Big up to Anthony English here. He definitely made that possible. All right, my friend. Yes. Well, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Mary, Stunning. What is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, okay. I have this one memory that I always reference because it has so much meaning to me. And it's sitting under my grandfather's lemon tree, a very beautiful, abundant, massive lemon tree. And he had a beautiful big vegetable garden. My grandparents had a big vegetable garden. We're sitting under the tree, and my grandfather was Greek, and my grandparents, my heritage is Greek. So here we are sitting under this tree eating cucumbers from the garden, tomatoes from the garden, some feta cheese, and some beautiful bread that my grandmother had cooked. And I was only about 4 and sitting under that lemon tree. And my grandfather was an amazing storyteller. So I think that I got that gift of storytelling because he would get his message across to all of his grandchildren through storytelling, trials and tribulations of his life, the war years, losing his daughter at 16, all of these amazing stories that he would share with us. And that memory for me, even as I'm talking about it, brings a real deep level of emotion because the simplicity of just being present with someone that you admire so much, I don't think happens today. I think we've lost that heart-to-heart connection, but that has become the most important part of who I am today. Building heart-to-heart connections is my priority over anything, and I learned that from especially my grandfather. That lemon tree is, if you like, and it is just an image that's implanted in my brain that really represents, I think, who I've become today.
How old were you in that memory?
I would say I would have been about 4.
How do you see it connecting to who you are today?
I think just being able to be present and hearing this person storytell. That was my grandfather's way of building heart connection, getting me to listen to him through stories is how that's the type of person I am today. I'm very much a big believer in storytelling to get your message across. That's all my video content is all based on storytelling. And I think that I really learned empathy from such a young age, really feeling people at a heart level, a very deep heart level, has been something that I would say is just a natural part of who I am.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Please.
I love the fact that they are giving you the vegetables from the garden, which they produced in their own uniqueness. And I love the fact that you are sitting under the lemon tree, which for me metaphorically represents the opportunity that you have been given from a legacy standpoint to then create your lemon stand, if you would, or anything that you require from that particular blessing that you've been given. And I love the uniqueness in it. I mean, there are the challenges, right? Someone sees lemon and it's like, what are you going to do with that other than get shade? But to see that you found ways to use your uniqueness, your voice, Mary, to be all that you can be, I love how those connect.
Now, that is just wonderful. That's just made my day.
Welcome. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
I think that I wrote down, and I remember this vividly, all of my cousins were older than me, and at that point, the song Super Freak was a big, big, big hit. And, all of my cousins were, the disco ball, the disco scene was a big deal then. I was still too young to go out to those type of events. But I would remember vividly watching all my cousins get dressed up with their stilettos, the beautiful clothes, their hair. It was just they all looked so stunning. And this song I just always, whenever I think of me being 12, I always think of my cousins going out to a disco and me, and that song was always in the background. So that's me at 12 years old.
That's great. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mary, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Who do I want to pass on to my skills?
Oh, no, sorry. Have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Of course I have. My children. Absolutely.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes.
All right. How many children do you have?
I have 2 boys.
All right. Do you believe in God?
Sorry?
Do you believe in God?
Do I live in what?
Oh, my apologies. We must be cutting out. Do you believe in God?
Of course I do. Okay. Absolutely.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I watch no TV at all.
How about 3? Wow! What about screen time? The phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Definitely less than 8.
If you had to share with us, Mary, your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
I stand for fulfilling dreams.
Ooh, I love that. Ooh. Mm-hmm. All right, Mary, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Absolutely nothing. I just want to say thank you, Angel, so much for having me.
Sure, this has been a great pleasure. Mary Henderson, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.